The story Josh shares begins like any ordinary workday, the kind you finish without a second thought. He was driving home from his shift, following the same familiar route he'd taken countless times, a quiet stretch southeast of Kansas City, Missouri. But on this particular day, something happened that would etch the moment permanently into his memory and ignite a mystery that still lingers in his mind. Josh had just passed near a local power plant, an isolated spot bordered by fields, patches of woods, and a small pond that sits beside the road. The sun had dipped enough to cast long shadows but hadn't yet surrendered to the night. The air carried that stillness that often precedes dusk. As he rounded a slight bend, something by the pond caught his eye, something large, dark, and strangely out of place. At first glance, Josh thought it was a black grizzly bear, though he knew full well that Missouri doesn't harbor grizzlies. The figure appeared to be kneeling or crouched beside the water. Its back was broad, its shape bulky, and its color a deep charcoal black. The sheer size instantly tightened his chest. But before he could slow down enough to get a clear second look, the creature shifted. It didn't move like a bear. The motion was different, too smooth, too upright, almost as though the creature was about to stand. A jolt of fear shot through him. Instinctively, he kept driving. By the time he reached home, Josh couldn't shake the image. He replayed the moment again and again, searching for some rational explanation. Maybe it was a bear, he told himself. Maybe the light was playing tricks on him. But deep down he knew what he'd seen had not matched the movements or posture of any bear he'd ever encountered. Later that evening, still unsettled, Josh logged onto Facebook to scroll through posts from his small town's discussion page. That's when his blood ran cold. Someone had posted asking if anyone else had seen a strange creature near the pond by the power plant earlier that day. The description matched almost exactly what Josh had witnessed. A large black figure, oddly shaped, crouching near the water. He wasn't alone. For Josh, that realization was both a comfort and a catalyst. Comfort, because it meant he hadn't imagined it. Catalyst, because it drove him to take a closer look at the area over the next few days. If something unusual was roaming the outskirts of town, he wanted to understand what he had encountered. He returned to the lake at James A. Reed Memorial Wildlife Area, a location not far from where he'd seen the creature. The area is known for its sprawling woods, quiet trails, thick underbrush, and diverse wildlife. It's also a place with a surprising history of reported sightings cataloged on the BFRO website. Josh hadn't known that at the time, but he would soon learn. As he began exploring the surroundings, he found more than he expected. The first thing he noticed was the bones, odd bones, scattered near the shoreline. Some were small, likely from raccoons or deer, but a few were larger and broken in ways that didn't resemble predator kills he'd seen before. The placement seemed strange, almost as though they had been collected or dropped repeatedly in the same vicinity. Moving deeper through the trees, Josh discovered signs of disturbance. Several trees had been pushed over, not snapped by age or storms, but shoved from the root base. The direction of the falls suggested force, deliberate, powerful force. These were not thin saplings, some were sizable trunks that would require immense strength to topple. The ground revealed impressions as well. While none were perfect footprints, the disturbed soil looked like something heavy had repeatedly moved across the same areas. There was a sense of patterns, of trails lightly stamped into the earth, the signs of a large creature passing through more than once. Josh wasn't the only one who knew of the strange goings-on. As he shared his encounter quietly with friends and neighbors, he began hearing whispers of previous sightings over the years, stories that drifted around campfires, stories told by fishermen early in the morning or by hunters who refused to return to certain stretches of forest. Some spoke of shadows moving between trees. Others mentioned howls or knocks echoing through the woods. And some, like Josh, had glimpsed a large, dark shape near the edges of fields or ponds, always at a distance, always fleeting. When Josh later checked the BFRO's site out of curiosity, he found that the James A. Reed Memorial Wildlife Area had indeed been the backdrop for several reported encounters spanning multiple decades. Each report described similar details: unusual sounds, massive silhouettes, or strange activity around water sources. It was enough to make him wonder, was the creature he saw part of a long-standing pattern? Josh's own sighting continued to replay in his mind. The posture of the creature stuck with him, the way it had been kneeling by the water, almost human-like in form. The smoothness of its motion haunted him the most. No matter how he examined it, nothing matched a bear's natural behavior. It looked heavy, tall, and intelligent, like it was aware of its surroundings. He remembered the moment it had begun to rise, and the overwhelming instinct that told him to keep driving. He didn't know if the creature had noticed him or if it had simply been reacting to a sudden noise. Either way, he felt certain that stopping would have been a mistake. As the days passed, Josh found himself torn between fear and fascination. He wanted answers, but he also understood that whatever lived in those woods, if it truly existed, was something powerful, something capable of staying hidden despite being so close to civilization. It wasn't some monster lurking in the shadows, but a creature adapted to silence, to survival, and possibly to watching humans from the safety of the trees. Josh's story is not unique, but what makes it compelling is its sincerity, the way he describes not just what he saw, but how it affected him. The fear, the curiosity, the validation when another person shared the same sighting, and the discoveries around the lake all paint a picture of something unusual happening on the edges of a Missouri town. Whether the creature was a Sasquatch, an unknown animal, or something else entirely, Josh remains convinced that he saw something real that day. Something that didn't fit into any category he knew. And while he hasn't seen it again since, the presence he felt in that moment continues to echo each time he passes the pond. Sometimes it just takes one unexpected glance at the right moment to uncover a mystery hidden in plain sight. And in southeast Missouri, near a quiet pond beside a power plant, that mystery may still be watching.